Hello everybody and welcome to the Intel Extreme Masters Season 9. We wrapped up with Season 8 with SOS as our world champion, winning the $100,000 winner takes all. And we're here for a fresh new season, live from China, Shenzhen. And I'm joined by Moonglade. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here and I'm so excited to get this started. A little bit of delays here from the get-go, but we have such a great match lined up straight away.
Yeah, we had a couple of technical issues, of course, but everything should be resolved from here on out. And from this point on, we are going to have an excellent start to Season 9 here at the Intel Extreme Masters. We have world-class players here to play, and it is hot. It is awesome here. And just looking over above the camera, I can see some of the very best StarCraft 2 players in the world. We can take a look at the groups and the schedule and talk to you a little bit about how this tournament is going to unravel. As we can see here, the 4 groups that we have entered after finishing up the open bracket. As you can see on screen, from Group A to Group D, we have players that are qualified in the first 2 slots of each group. The 3rd place player is the invited player based from WCS, and then the 4th player are the 4 players from the open bracket player list.
That's right, and we have some top-of-the-line Koreans here, some champions. I mean, straight off the bat, we have Zest versus Jjakji, 2 GSL champions straight away. I mean, it's insane, and we have such a great lineup, and obviously Life and Daisy playing as we speak for that last spot. And another huge game that we're going to, unfortunately, miss out on seeing. Yeah,
unfortunately, the way that the schedule is going to work here is that we'll be covering Group A very shortly, and then later on, our friends over in America at ESL America will be covering Group B, and that's what we'll see on Day 2 here at the Intel Extreme Masters. Of course, Day 1 being the open bracket. Going into tomorrow, we'll be covering Group C and Group D. We'll be here on this stream covering Group C, and then, of course, Group D again by our American friends. And then after that, it is the playoff time, the quarterfinals on Saturday, and then on Sunday, the 2 semifinals and finals. So an excellent set of days coming your way. We can take a closer look at Group A now to see which players and which games we'll be jumping into first.
Straight off the bat, Zest versus Jjakji, as we were talking about, and wow, what a game to start things off. I'm really excited for this. Zest, obviously, one of the best Protosses in career, easily, and has done so much in individual leagues, more than any other Kesper player. So I'm very excited to see what he can do. He hasn't performed that well in like the latest Pro League season, but I still think he's got what it takes, especially against Jjakji.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like Jjakji going through the open bracket, he beat True. True had played so well in Pro League recently, carrying his team to victory. A huge shock, but luckily True made it through anyway. But it just shows how good Jjakji is at the moment.
Yeah, we have a clear favorite in Zest, I think, for this group, and then the 2 regular WCS Europe players in Jjakji and San, and then the American in their Illusion. We'll find out how well he can do, a clear underdog within that group. But so far, going to shape up good. The way that the group is going to work, of course, is the regular WCS format. So we'll be covering actually just the first game. As you see the word 2 games, we'll be going into the Zest and the Zest and San group first.
Zest and Jjakji.
Zest and Jjakji, sorry, first. And then the other game will be played out simultaneously. And then from there on out, we'll play every single match out. But it is not just me and Moonglade here for the start of this. We also are joined by Susie, who's going to tell us a little bit more about what she's going to be doing for us over these next couple of days.
All right, guys, I am here at the couch. Sadly, I'm here by myself, but soon enough, I will have some players to join me on this lovely little area. Right now, Red Eye can't be with us either, and so I will be hosting some interviews for you and translating some good stuff, hopefully. So without further ado, let's go back to Sean and Moonglade.
Thank you very much, Susie. Yeah, she'll be covering a lot of the winner interviews, some extended interviews as we grab players to get those headsets on and give us a little bit of information and talk on how they're feeling here in China, here in Shenzhen. So a lot of money on the line here, of course. This is a $25,000 tournament. A lot of WCS points on the line, 4,000 points up for grabs here. And an exciting tournament with some of the world's best.
Exactly. I'm very excited to get things started. And yeah, some very important points for some of these players here in the top 8 already. just that little bit of extra points will get them into the championship at BlizzCon.
Yeah, so there's a lot of players. There's about 6 players out of the top 16 that are competing here, and a lot of challenges to that top 16, of course, to make it to the global finals at the end of the year. But Moonglade, you've seen the players around. We've watched the players from the open bracket. You know some of the highlighted players here. Who do you think's your favorite to do well here, or at least a couple of favorites to look out for?
Couple of favorites. Well, no doubt Zest is one of the favorites. Looking at Zest and how he's been playing so far, I definitely think he's the shoo-in to kind of win this thing. But also at the same time, we have True coming in. True playing an amazing StarCraft lately. I got some great faith in him that even though he dropped to Jjakji in the open bracket, I still think he's definitely got a good shot of coming in and winning this thing.
All right, well, we also have the new maps that are going to be played out here, having a new season. As we come closer and closer to the start of Season 3 for WCS, we have new maps that are going to be played here.
That's going to be interesting because there are some interesting maps, some that come to mind off the top of my head. Deadwing, especially interesting for Zerg if they get the horizontal positions. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out, if it's actually going to be played at all from a Zerg perspective. But it's really interesting to see how Terran and Protoss are going to play on these maps too. There's a lot of airspace in some of these maps that are really going to favor Terran. And I mean, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how things turn out.
There's one Terran up there, and it is, of course, Jjakji. And as mentioned before, it will be Jjakji versus Zest, our first game here of Group A and Day 2 of the Intel Masters. And this one's a cool game. This is a cool matchup because we've got an old-school player like Jjakji, who's a former GSL champion from 2011, who's going to be going up against a very new-school kind of player, a newer-bred StarCraft 2 player in the likes of Zest, who's a more recent GSL champion at the start of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Jjakji definitely having a lot more success in 2011, and Zest having a lot of success this year. I mean, Jjakji has had a lot of ups and downs in his career, and he is playing very well, obviously, at this tournament especially. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he's going to play, especially against someone like Zest.
Yeah, Jjakji has been around since the beginning of StarCraft 2, and in recent times he's got a lot of top 4 finishes. He hasn't been in a final since the day that he won back in November 2011 within that GSL, but he's been performing very well since he's joined his Mind Sanity team and is living and competing mainly in Europe, and has performed very well in the Intel Masters, at DreamHack events, and is overall a very established Terran, just missing that spark that can win him tournaments. And he enters a group which is definitely a very difficult group to see Jjakji advance from, with the likes of Zest in there, with the likes of San in there. And of course Illusion, you know, definitely the underdog, but he's definitely can still take a series and maps away from these players.
Illusion is a very good player, without a doubt. Hasn't had the success as the other 3 Korean players in his group, but he can definitely take some games. He's been doing well. He played at MLG in the championship bracket. He didn't do too well there, but he still put up a good fight, had some good games. So, you know, it's promising, and I think he can do some upsets.
Yeah, and as mentioned before, this is a prime opportunity to grab more points towards the road to the global finals. As, you know, Jjakji's rank 11 at the moment, and then we have Zest, who's rank 8, so 2 players who are within the top 16 already looking to fight against each other. And from what I'm told, it's Zest is about to, or is very shortly, going to be ready for us to take a look at him as well. But surely we're looking at a Zest first place within this group, followed by a close San or Jjakji. Is that what you'd be looking at?
That's my predictions. I mean, judging from the WCS EU finals, San may be a bit weaker in PvP, so I'm thinking if Zest can get over Jjakji, he should be able to win this. And I'm pretty sure San can take out Illusion, and from there it's really going to come down to Jjakji and San more than anything else, I think.
Do you look at Zest as like a guy that's definitely going to be looking at a 2-0 against Jjakji here then?
I think so.
Or is Jjakji maybe?
It's hard to say. I mean, I really have to see Jjakji's TVP to see exactly where he's at. But I mean, Zest is so strong, especially in this matchup. So it's going to be very difficult, a very difficult match indeed.
And it's
really going to come down to like the other side of the bracket, who's going to get in. I feel like Zest is a shoo-in.
And I think one of the cool things to look at within this tournament as well is how Kesper players enter international tournaments. I think is a really cool way to look at this, because Zest, of course, a well-known Kesper player, one of the best players on KT Rolster himself. But when they come to enter these international tournaments, they haven't had as good success. I mean, aside from SOS, let's point him out for sure. But let's take TY, for example, who went to DreamHack. Everyone thought he's going to go in there and just kind of own it up.
Right.
You think Zest has the capability to you know, just go through it all like he does in Pro League?
Well, I think he's one of the few Kesper players that can actually do this because he has done it so well in GSL, for instance, and other tournaments of the like. He's the one player that's done really well in these individual tournaments where everyone else seems to have a lot of struggling. It seems to be struggling a lot. And it kind of makes sense because the way Kesper players train, they play week by week, one best of one.
Yeah.
That's all they play, unless it's playoffs, of course, where it's more of an all-kill format. But that it actually shows in their gameplay. Like, they play this solid, crisp, perfect one game, but they're not ready for multiple players, you know, not compared to these GSL players we've seen over the years, the ESF players and international players who play in these massive tournaments that have so many players in it and they have so much experience. So I think Zest, he's the one player that can do this better than any other Kesper player.
I'm really looking forward to potentially seeing Tasia against a Zest or against a True, who Tasia's been that guy who's been very international when it comes to his tournament presence compared to these guys who not quite as much.
Yeah, same with Hero. I mean, Hero's in this tournament too, and he has so much experience, just as much as Tasia. Maybe not the success as Tasia, but yeah, just his international experience.
Right. Yeah,
it's an amazing advantage to have, and we'll have to wait and see how it's going to affect against these Kesper players.
Well, maybe one thing that we can look at with the Kesper players, and you know, more specifically Zest here, is do you think that the Korean pro gaming houses like within the Kesper teams have maybe focused on preparation on maps specifically that could give them an edge rather than a Jjakji who's going to be just playing ladder over and over and over and having a lot less trained and honed practice on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, they go through such a regime of like practicing for a map, practicing for a player, doing that week of research on this one player for this team. Like the amount of preparation that goes into this one game is next level. And I mean, you can't do that for every player in a tournament. It's just going to take too long. It's too much effort. So I think laddering is probably the best way to prepare for this kind of thing.
All right, well, it looks like we are going to have the player introductions. Of course, being in China, we do have a Chinese host there on the left-hand side who will be introducing the players one by one. Jjakji's been called out, and there is Zest, looking as handsome as ever here. Moonblades.
He is a very handsome man. Very experienced man.
It is the start of the English international games here at the Intel Extreme Masters, as Jjakji does take to his booth. And we'll see what he can do against the likes of Zest here, as we'll be jumping into this best of 3 in a couple of moments' time.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what the map list is, too, for this kind of matchup.
Right.
I'm very excited to see that. What maps they're going to get rid of, what maps Protoss don't want to play against Terran on, because, I mean, there are so many, like, big air maps that require a lot of dropping to deal with, and, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of styles we see come out.
All right, well, this is going to be a very important game for both sides here. Most importantly here for Jjakji, but Zest is a favorite not only for this series, not only for the group, but the entire tournament. He's one of the best Protoss players out there. He's a most recent GSL champion at the start of the year, being or adding his name to the list of Royal Roaders that have competed within the GSL and shot to the top on his first attempt. And here he is at the Intel Extreme Masters. For the second time, he did play Intel Extreme Masters New York last year, but that was when he was just preparing to be the guy that he is today.
Yeah, I mean, we actually have 2 Royal Roaders in this tournament if live qualifiers, you know. How crazy is that? We have so many GSL champions, Royal Roaders. This tournament is so stacked, and it's because it's in China. It's 3 hours away from Korea.
Right.
Everyone's coming over.
Yeah, I mean, we had the pleasure to take the coverage for the Asian qualifiers, and seeing Zest play in that was phenomenal. He just crushed it through. Jjakji, another player here that we have within the Intel Extreme Masters. Going to be a more difficult position for him to be in this group for sure, but he did play well from the open bracket. He's an open bracket player, and he went through, as you said, True. He went through Czech, and I think it was Revival as well. So he showed his turn versus Zerg.
Very impressive.
Open bracket, but no Zergs in this group, and he's going to have to rely on his Terran versus Protoss here.
Yeah, that's going to be the kicker. TVP and maybe a TVT if it comes to that. It very well could. So we're going to have to wait and see exactly how it's going to turn out. It's going to be a very interesting match.
And there's Zest,
so
not
handsome.
Here to mess around, is he?
He is a handsome man. Chiseled.
Chiseled.
One of the most chiseled Korean pro gamers.
A fantastic way to describe him, chiseled.
Feels like he was born to wear a suit, you know what I mean?
Yes. I would like to see him as a caster, as
one
dressed
day.
up as one of us, man.
I think we could see that one day.
And there, of course, is Jjakji. Jjakji, I mean, as much as he is for a lot of us here as the slight underdog coming into this, or maybe more so than slight, he has definitely shown that he can compete with the best. He's it never really had the best Terran versus Protoss, but some days he just doesn't make mistakes and plays such a clean game, and he's really going to have to bring that to the table against a player like Zest. And Zest is solid. Zest isn't going to lose easily.
No,
Zest isn't going to be tricked. You're going to have to beat him in a straight-up game.
Yeah, he's going to play a very solid game, I'm sure. He doesn't want to let anything go, and he has had the open bracket to kind of see how Jjakji plays, his kind of style, and I'm sure he's been asking around, like, hey, how's this guy's TVP? You know, what does he do? So I'm sure he'll be kind of ready for this. I mean, Zest obviously has a lot more exposure to him, being in Pro League, always on TV, being in GSL, always on TV. So, yeah, he's got a lot more to work with Jjakji.
Well, we'll see if Jjakji can make this possible. Best of 3, of course, between these two players, and then we'll be jumping straight into the lower bracket game here, and then it will be the winners, and then the final game, just as we do cover within the WCS. As both players now just getting their final things set up. Zest is probably typing in like, I'm born ready. And look at that vein. See that vein? It was pumping out of his right arm, man. He's got a pump on.
Wow.
I don't know
did
if
some
he lifts
push-ups.
his keyboard or there's a couple of bicep curls with his keyboard.
You know what? Anything can happen. Improving the blood flow before a game is probably a pretty important thing. It's something that, you know, we don't know about. This is maybe something the Koreans do that, you know, foreigners just don't understand. And it makes sense. It'll wake you up, get you ready. There has been a bit of a wait this morning, so maybe they're a bit sleepy. I saw Jjakji sleeping on a desk, so they need to wake up. They need to get their pump on.
Well, this is where it is so important to keep focused as we're about to enter the group stages here of the Intellect Stream Masters live from Shenzhen here in China. It's hot. It is air conditioned within the booth, so should be playing under optimal conditions. Everything should be set up, of course, with the slight earlier electricity problems. We did have some delays, but things are starting to get underway now. As look at that focus on Zest. Keen. Nope, he's not keen. He's Zest.
He's keen to play.
He's keen to play.
He's ready. He's been waiting for this.
He has been ready. He's been waiting for this. He's been here for a couple of days with one goal in his mind, and that is to win the Intellect Stream Masters, and he's got a very good chance at doing so. And we'll see if he's going to stumble on his first hurdle, which is Jjakji. And
Jjakji already taken down one Casper player this tournament so far. Not too much of a stretch if he can do it again. Different matchup though. Clearly his favorite matchup is TVZ.
all right, so it seems like there is an issue with inviting into the game. So we will be doing that very shortly right now. So thanks for joining us here. I know some of you in Europe may be waking up right now. You may be still awake. If you're still awake, woo!
Wow.
It's early, man. It's like 6 a.m. there, maybe. And maybe some of you are still awake in America, so thank you for joining us.
Been watching those WCS America games. I hear the Avillo game
was the highlight of the night.
It was a special. It had its own Reddit thread, and it went for a few hours. Swarm Host versus Mech. Always fun to watch. Fun for the whole family for a number of hours. Hopefully we don't see. Hopefully we don't see that this tournament. But who knows? You know, anything could happen. There are a few Terrans in this tournament after all.
And there is a crowd out there, which I can slightly see to my right-hand side, which these players are playing in front of in the booths. You
know, that's one great thing about China. Like, sometimes their internet doesn't work, sometimes their power doesn't work, but they have so much passion, so many fans for these games.
Right,
especially, I mean, thinking about the Warcraft 3 days, it was insane. But even for StarCraft, you know, it fills out. A lot of fans here.
Well, especially that we do have Jim playing in Group D.
Yeah.
And of course, the only Chinese player in the tournament.
Kind of a surprise that he's the only one, too. You know, I would have thought more would have come out to give it their best, but no Max Ed, no other players really stepping up.
Do you know what I do miss?
Who?
Twitter and Facebook.
Oh, I miss it so much.
I miss it so much.
I'm almost tempted to put on roaming to just do it just a little bit.
Without Twitter and Facebook, I have no friends, so I feel so lonely.
I'm your friend.
Yeah, you're my only friend. There's Kalaris isn't here.
Yeah, Kalaris isn't here.
Red Eye's not here yet, so you're my only friend right now.
Don't worry, I'll hang out with you. I'll pretend to be a Brit for now, you know.
You kind of are a Brit.
Kind of. I'm a Brit. I'm a Brit convict, so I guess that's something.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, from the wonderful country that you are from.
Yeah, you love it.
That we accidentally sent you to the wrong country.
I don't know. I feels like it was kind of the right one after all. I'm kind of grateful for it.
Yeah. It is a beautiful country. Being there just a couple months back, it was beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I haven't been to the UK yet, but I'd love to visit it one day.
It's not quite as beautiful as where you're from.
I hear it's a bit more dark and
gloomy.
Gloomy a bit.
A little bit grey.
Lots of queues, I've heard. And what? And we're still waiting for these players. Still kind of warming up, setting up. Waiting for it to happen.
Yeah.
I also miss energy drinks. There's none of them here, and I could really use one. There we go.
You got the invite.
We got the invite to the game.
Yeah, I don't know what took so long for that, but we got the invite. And Zest is like, come on, man.
It's like, hey, man.
I really want to start this game.
There's only so much I can warm up for, you know. I already got that pump, you know.
There's not much else I can do.
I'm wearing my arms out here. Those are interesting earphones. Are they ESL earphones or are they something else? Are they his?
Maybe they're MMA's earphones.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe he has green ones like that. There is the audience out there, as you can see, that are watching eagerly for the start of the games here. We've had no StarCraft games yet played out live to the audience. This is the first game that we'll be doing, as yesterday's open bracket was covered by our lovely Nathanius. And they got their sticks ready. And, ooh, an old picture of Stork.
Wow, some hardcore fans here.
Yeah, some brutal fans here. Definitely come out to enjoy this one. And the game is starting as Jjakji cracks his neck. So we are ready to start the Intel Extreme Masters here as the English broadcast about to kick off. Day 2. We finished with the open bracket, and now we are in for the group stages. Game 1, this is where it finally starts. And down here to the bottom right-hand side, bottom left-hand side, sorry. I get confused sometimes. As the red Terran from My Insanity, it is, of course, Jjakji. And there he is. And, of course, up here to the top right, playing for KT Rolster, a big favorite to take the entire tournament. And this is where it all begins for him. I haven't played a game yet, but he plays here. Is, of course, Zest. And our observing is done by our lovely French Funker. I guess that's another friend that we have.
Yeah, he's actually a cool guy. First time I met him this tournament, and a very friendly chap.
Yes, he is a very friendly chap. Yeah. He's quite bad at Street Fighter 4, as we found out last night.
Oh,
but overall, he's a very friendly guy.
Bit of a rager.
But, I mean, who wouldn't rage if they're bad at games?
Well, especially if you're playing against Blanker. I mean, let's be real.
Let's be real here.
Yeah.
All right, so what are you expecting to see from both of these players here, do you think, on such a favored map such as Overgrowth? It's played so often.
It is a very, very common map. We'll have to wait and see exactly how Zest is going to open up. And I mean, Jjakji, I'm not too familiar with in TVP. It's hard to stay up for these WCSCU matches, but I mean, starting with walling off the ramp, so doesn't want to get rushed by anything by the looks of things, trying to avoid getting scouted as well. No gas just yet either, so maybe going for a kind of a gasless expand.
Yeah, he may do. There are a couple of build orders in Europe that do have later gases for factory play and stuff, but we'll see. At the moment, as you said, he is heading towards that one barracks expansion play. And if he's able to wall off, you deny the scout here from Zest, which is about to make its way down. And it is going to be a wall off here. And Zest gets no information from that.
So very, very good, very effective. I mean, stopping any sort of gas scoutage is a great way to start things off. You don't know if the Reaper is coming, you don't know what is coming, and it's actually a really big deal depending on like how they're going to defend against this. Do they need to chrono out a Stalker, or do they need to get their mothership down there to scout? I mean, there's so many things. It could be anything. It could be a Wings of Liberty 4 racks Marine all-in for all we know. Man, I miss those.
Yeah, it could be, man. A couple of SCVs coming with it. As Jjakji does try to hunt the probe, but it gets away. And Zest does get the scout that it's a Marine, not a Reaper, so he can eliminate that aspect of it. But he's not exactly sure what this is still. It could be one Marine into a reactor or something.
It could be a mine drop for all we know. It could be anything. It could be Hellions. It could be, a lot of things. It could even be like Hellbat drops. But going for a 1 racks CC expand. So kind of an old school build. Yeah,
definitely an old school build here. And Zest kept his Zealot alive here, much more on the defensive side of things. Obviously, you see that delayed and even cancelled a lot of the times here. And that just shows a sign of worrisome a little bit by Zest, not really knowing exactly what his opponent's up to.
Yeah, a bit of unfamiliarity there. And I mean, yeah, getting that Zealot off. Obviously, don't want to Zealots are usually used to get rid of that engineering bay more than anything else. And if it's not there, they usually cancel it and go back straight into a Stalker. But obviously going straight for the Zealot this time, playing it safe, making sure that SCV can't plant down anything.
And look at this, Jjakji with Marines on the right-hand side, Xel'Nagatao just preventing any bit of information here. And as a favorite coming into a series, when you're playing an underdog per se, and you aren't getting scouting information, it's probably one of the most scary things to experience playing in StarCraft. You don't know what, this guy's capable of doing. And this Zealot maybe having a look around for some potential structures on this right-hand side, maybe a way to get some information.
I like that a lot. And it looks like Zest is going to simply play straight into a very safe game, going straight into robotics. This is the safest way you can play. You get out observers. We've seen this a lot lately. Pig Baby did it in WCS NA, playing extremely well, getting out a lot of observers before anything else to deal with Terran, and it worked so well. And it's the smartest way to play, considering the airspace on this map, the potential for drops, and simply because he hasn't got the scouting he needed. He needs to get those observers out. He needs to know what's happening.
And look at Jjakji here. He's got the engineering bay down nice and fast. He's started to marauder production and concussive shells over Stim at this point. So he's going to move out shortly. He's going to be a little bit aggressive with his first couple of units. And he has a scouting SCV here around this left-hand side. See if any information can be gathered from this guy. And do you think Zest is going to be prepared for this little movement out? What does he have at the moment? A Stalker, I think? That's it? And a Mothership Core?
Yeah.
Maybe 2 Stalkers?
Well, I mean, the potential to, I guess the potential is to trigger the photon overcharge and back off. That's kind of the way Terrans kind of keep the energy on the Mothership Core down, stops them from, getting too much energy so they can kind of recall and photon overcharge all in one. So it's a very smart way Terrans go about it, doing that pressure.
And good information gathering there. He got the SCV that saw the gases on the natural. He saw the robot. No, he didn't quite see the robotics bay, but he did scan inside the main base, saw the robotics facility, the observer coming out, the unit count as well. And look, he's gone around the left-hand side here, not going into vision range of the right-hand side Xel'Nagatao. Yeah. So this has gone unspotted right now.
Looking for that third base, doesn't see it coming up anytime soon. Probably going to move in shortly, try and trigger that photon overcharge, back off, apply more pressure, force out units that don't want to be warped in, while Zest is going for this very greedy, but kind of pretty safe. Yeah. Double forge into Colossi eventually.
Or at least no units are out in the open here, but he's going to get... no, doesn't even get a probe there. Photon overcharge activated immediately, and he does lose a single Marine. Gets a probe there, and more units coming in, and that's quite a lot of units here.
That's definitely has potential to do damage. If this overcharge ends before he can do another one.
There's no Colossus out at the moment. He's got double forge down. There's photon overcharge. It should have a second photon overcharge here.
Yeah.
But he's only 10 energy away.
So Jjakji kind of just wasting the Mothership Core's energy, which I like a lot. It's definitely a very effective way of dealing with it early.
He's got a lot of units. He's got a lot of production as well. And you see the starport coming in, the third barracks coming in.
Yeah, he's playing a very aggressive style here. And this means Zest is going to have to be very careful with his positioning, especially with this Colossi. That could get picked off so easily by Stim Marauders if he's not careful.
And the photon overcharge is down here. It gets activated for a second time. Loses another Marine, so 2 Marines have been picked off for that, but still a lot in the center. 2 observers have been killed as well. But the longer this game goes on, and if Zest doesn't take any damage here, with double forge in, as well as the Twilight Council nice and early, he's got very good potential for the next 5 minutes or so. It's just this high amount of units out in the open that he sees as a big threat to his game.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the ways Jjakji is doing this. He keeps triggering the photon overcharge in the natural, keeping that Mothership Core from having an energy, and he's going to have Medivacs.
Does Zest have enough? Does he have enough? I mean, he can stim towards the Colossus. There's no thermal lance. Photon overcharge is going to be down in a second.
He's played
he needs to prepare for this.
Very greedy game, and this could be it.
All right, he scans. Stim is ready. How is he going to do this? He spreads out his units. He hasn't stimmed yet. It is ready, though, and there is the stim. And a good spread of units here from Jjakji. He spreads to the left and to the right-hand side here. So far, Zest okay, but he's going for the Colossus. And the Colossus is down instantly. And Zest down in supply. There's a lot of motors left to these Stalkers. And Jjakji, a powerful strike here.
Very effective. I was not expecting to do so well. That Colossus was just not ready to move back. And he took so many probes down too. So Jjakji in an astounding lead right now.
12 probes.
Yeah.
12 probes, a single Colossus down, all before the Medivacs came out.
So much damage. He really has to recover from here. He has to get the Colossi out. He's got to get he's going to have the upgrade advantage very shortly, and he's got to get gateway units out. He's got to get like some sentries to kind of buffer for these Colossus. Well, there's such small amounts of gateway units.
Third base coming in here. The drop was seen here by Zest, so he is moving into it. But again, the Colossus is very exposed here. He makes stim for it, and he does stim for it, and that Colossus does get saved at last moment, and he does have to evacuate. Whew.
But not stopping here. Looks like he's going to keep going. Keep trying to find something, but 2 Colossi out. That's going to be
okay now. Yeah, he should be okay. And still losing a Pro Ball too, but Jjakji really putting the pressure on. He comes around the right-hand side again with this drop. And there's units on the natural as well. And Jjakji really testing Zest.
Yeah, so much multitask. Losing that Medivac full of units. Definitely going to halt this aggression. But I mean, at the same time, we have Jjakji taking the 3rd CC, taking that 3rd base, getting ahead, very ahead in economy. And if Zest doesn't start to expand now or make a move, he's going to fall behind pretty quickly.
You know, the army supply is very similar right now, so Zest has held on. He did take damage to his worker count, as we can see, 48 to 62. And he's got to start thinking about his 3rd base right now. He is going to be able to start 2-2 upgrades much earlier than his opponent. And he is going to be able to climb up with his Colossus cannon. Has a nice count now at 2, maybe 3 soon. Just 2 at the moment, hasn't started that 3rd. But the game is going to slow down a little bit now as Zest is comfortable.
Zest is these 2. Yeah, and he's pushing across the map, kind of applying a bit of pressure, taking this Del Naga tower. Jjakji doesn't know if he's going for that all-in or taking the 3rd base. So he's got to be very careful at this point. And so it gives him a bit of breathing room here, which is very important, considering he's down, 20 supply already.
Yeah. Well, we have 2-2 upgrades coming in, and also double starports. So there is I think a nice timing available potentially when the Viking count gets high enough. Maybe we even see SCVs come with this, depending on how he sees the timing viable or not. But I mean, the Viking got 4 at a time, man.
Like, it's going to be completely ready for it. We're going to have to see a tech switch, or we're going to have to see some amazing Blink Stalker micro to deal with this, because it's going to be so hard to hold with just Colossi.
Well, Jjakji doesn't want to blow his load too early. He doesn't want to move out, lose these Vikings, especially with that count rising so fast. That is definitely going to move to his advantage, despite the 2-2 upgrades of Zest. But the Templar Archives, I'd imagine, would need to come in soon. He starts the 3rd Colossus here, so playing almost to a certain degree into Jjakji's hands at this point.
Yeah, very much so. But I mean, he is getting charged lots, so he's starting to make the transition into a more Zealot-heavy composition, which he's definitely going to need to go into. Doesn't look like a Templar Archives just yet. Maybe when that 3rd base finally goes up. And yeah, Jjakji doesn't want to poke the beast too soon. He's got to wait for the perfect amount. When there's 3 Colossus like that, you probably want like 12 Vikings or something. You really want to be able to one-shot them, because even if you have like the anti-Colossi sort of units, if you don't have enough of them, the Colossi are simply going to do the damage before they die.
I think this is an ideal moment here for Jjakji maybe to start thinking about his right flank, because it is being consumed by probes and pylons here. And they're going to be harassing that back base. But that Viking count's starting to get a little bit scary now. It is only gateway units and it is only Colossus. He scans, he sees 4 Colossus. He knows what he has to do now. He backs off. By the looks of it, maybe the harassment's ported back to his 3rd.
Yeah, it looks like it.
The bunker a little bit far on that left-hand side, so the Zealots have gotten to this left-hand.
Taking a lot of damage, losing a lot of SCVs here, but I mean, Jjakji's still with such an amazing population lead, like 30 up. 30 pop up.
If Zest gets to 3-3, he's in really good shape, obviously, but is he going to get to 3-3 here? There's a massive opportunity for Jjakji. Before that is complete, they would be on equal upgrades, 2-2 apiece. Viking count high, there's about 3 or 4 ghosts out already, so a couple of good EMPs would help out in this fight. And Zest, pylon blocked at 150 supply, trying to add on more gateways, and look at this army from Jjakji. A clear opportunity here for him to potentially take map number 1 against Zest.
Yeah, this is so many Vikings. He has 5 Colossi though, so he is going to do a lot of damage to this bio before they all go down. I mean, and he is going for this kind of like this.
Is this SCVs behind?
These must be SCVs. Let me have a look here. Oh yes, this is a very, very all-in-ish sort of push, and it might be just enough. And Zest knows exactly what's going on, positioning his army in such a way that the Photon Overcharge is going to take a lot of the hits before his army does.
Mothership called down. The Vikings going straight for the Colossus. Is this going to work? EMPs go down on the Stalkers. The Colossus doing a bit of damage, but not onto the Bio and the Marauder Marines at the back. Colossus 1, 2, 3 down. Another one's going to go down, and look at the supply difference.
Wow, what a one-sided fight. It looks like the Photon Overcharge completely put him out of position, and those Vikings got so many free volleys.
Wow, 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 wow,
What
wow.
a great first game for Jjakji.
This is such a fantastic start here for Jjakji at the Intel Extreme Masters. Up against Zest, on stage, playing against one of the best Protoss players in the world, and he's able to take map number 1 away. And as I mentioned before with Jjakji, some days he just plays clean, he doesn't make mistakes, and he's able to deliver games like that.
It's one of these days, and I mean, he did it yesterday too, so maybe it's one of these tournaments where we're going to see Jjakji come out and show everyone what he's actually made of and have one of these amazing runs. Wow. Zest must be thinking back, what went wrong there? And he knows, like, he just got pulled apart by aggression in that early game. I mean, when Protoss is the weakest is that kind of like early to mid-game where they don't have the big units out, they don't have the Colossi, they don't have the AoE or the charge or Blink. They're kind of just reacting to drops where they can, putting down Photon overcharge, and you know, he got pulled apart for it. He got manipulated so many times into using it in the natural. He didn't have the energy to do it when the drops came in. It was very beautiful play.
Beautiful start here for Jjakji, and now just a single map away from going into the winner's game already, where of course he'd be facing the winner of either Illusion or San, which is currently being played out, I think, if not over already, which we will try to keep the updates coming in for you guys if you don't know the result of that already here. But we'll see how this is going to play out. The next map is going to be King Sejong Station, a very obviously important game here for Zest. Does not want to be losing a series so early on. It'll put him in a very difficult position, of course, within this group.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely unexpected. But I mean, King Sejong, a pretty damn good map for Protoss. Very easy to get the 3 base, very easy to kind of hold them. Very nice sort of layout to defend, especially with force fields and photon overcharge. So we'll have to see how Jjakji especially is going to play on this map. Is he going to be aggressive again, or is he going to take it to the late game? Is he going to apply that kind of pressure? We
will find out here. And King Sejong Station, the second map of the Intel Extreme Masters in Season 9. Up here to the top left is the Red Terran player playing for My Insanity, is of course Jjakji. And then, whoa.
That was fast.
That was fast. And then down here to the bottom right-hand side, of course, for KT Rolster, it is Zest. Trailing 0-1 here. And a very, very good start for Jjakji. And now it's time for Zest to show why he won GSL Season 1 this year and why he's considered one of the best Protoss players in the world. And he definitely has to show it.
He definitely does. Looking very focused still. Not rattled, I don't think. He has a lot of experience in these kind of matches, so I'm sure he's going to still be on top of things. We'll have to wait and see if he's going to change it up at all. We did see the very kind of standard Protoss play we see a lot these days. I mean, going Robo, going a lot of observers into Colossi. And we've seen actually CJ Hero do this kind of style a lot more than anyone else, going straight into hardcore upgrades, a lot of Colossi, and just crush in the late game. And I like it a lot, but when you take that kind of damage early, you just can't get there in time.
Yeah, 12 probe kills. I mean, it's a lot of damage. At least this time for Zest compared to the previous one, he's going to be able to get some information, hopefully, with this probe, as there is no complete wall off and there is a gas on its way down here for Jjakji.
Yeah, I wonder if we're actually going to see a very fast proxy with this, or is he just going to straight up scout?
Well, off a single gas here, I guess you'd be imagining it was a scout.
Yeah, you would hope so, actually. That's a good point. And yeah, he's going to get it for sure. Jjakji not even trying to hide anything here.
No. He's going to be able to go in here, spot the gas, and by the looks of it, it is going to be a Reaper here. As 50 gas is roughly aligned here with the barracks as standard. And we'll see that Reaper being used for scouting information. Of course, King Sejong Station, a massive map in terms of scouting buildings and structures, whatever you want around. So going to try and have keen eyes on what Zest is up to. Yeah,
I mean, it's a great map for proxies, especially. There's so much room to do it on the sides. There's so many like different little areas you can put down buildings and do sort of any sort of rush, whether it be factory into fast mine drop, or you're going to see a Stargate go down. There's a lot of potential here, but both players scouting each other early, seeing exactly what's going on. We see the one gas for Zest. Most likely going to be an expansion from here.
I wonder if Jjakji tries to play a little bit technical with a factory or not, but I think he's taken out a gas inside his main base, so I guess not. There are a lot of different Hellion mine builds going around right now.
Oh,
so I thought,
yeah. There's a lot of funky stuff going on, especially with the Hellbat buff.
Right.
It helped a lot, and so many timings. And I mean, getting that Reaper out for perfect scouting, I mean, it's so hard to stop Reaper scouting this early. And going into reactive Marines, so he's going to have a lot of defense early too. Getting down the bunker, I'm sure, very soon. And see a second Rax going down.
And it looks like we are trying to see Zest, or at least Zest attempt to find out if it is Factory or Barracks play or not with his probe on the other side of the map. He's going to go in, and that's a good scout from him. It kind of points out that he doesn't need to rush out the robotics facility, to rush out a lot of observers, to start to think about potential drops. So it's a really good scout there for Zest. And
yeah,
look at that. He switches his tech choice over to a Twilight Council.
I like this a lot. Very, very smart. He knows exactly what's going on. He doesn't have to worry about timings at all. And he can apply the pressure, and we might very well see some Blink Stalker pressure going on here.
Yeah, I mean, like you said before, we've seen a lot of that from a couple of other pro gamers in the scene, and this definitely could be this coming out here from Zest. But one thing to remember is that Jjakji in the previous game did scout directly inside the main base, so if he was to repeat his scouting patterns with that scan, he may be able to pick this up. The Reaper may be able to get it.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest problem will be the Reaper, and we do see Stalkers kind of put in position to deal with any sort of Reaper jump-ins. And looks like Jjakji's Reaper is kind of making a move here.
If he gets this, it is crucial information to this game.
It is a golden scout if he gets this in, but he might have to waste that scan after all, which I'm sure he doesn't want to do.
Well, the Reaper's going to make a move around the south side. No, still waiting around. Ideally needs to get in there to see if this is Robotics Facility, Twilight Council, extra gateways or not. He's got no information yet in this game. So he's playing completely blind. The Reaper now makes its move. And he's going to swing around here. Mothership Core on patrol move. Gets one hit off. The Stalker comes in. Second one coming in as well. Sees gateways. And that's all he gets. Is he going to scan behind the natural now?
Yep, doesn't get anything he needs. He might have to drop that scan when he can.
Yeah, what does the double gateway mean here? Is it just safer play coming out from Zest because he took a lot of aggression last time? Is it actually real aggression coming out from him?
I think it's going to be about what he scans and what he can react to, but at the same time, it can be defensive, can be offensive based on what he sees. He does see a lot of Marines.
Oh, do get spotted there. But Jjakji's got to be very careful here. There's 3 gateways and Blink on its way. There's going to be a lot of Stalkers out in the middle of the map shortly, and these Marines are no match for Blink Stalkers, so be very careful about that.
Yeah, this would actually be a horrible position here. But we do see 2 bunkers go down at the front of Jjakji's base. So he's kind of looking at this and being like, okay, we're going to see some aggression here.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at the same time, getting Marines out on the map like this really puts him in a bad spot.
Yeah, this is interesting because the SCV goes in and he's going to try and get a bit of scouting information. There's Marines for a counterattack and double bunkers coming down at home. So Jjakji's like preparing for a potential attack here. Maybe that gateway read was good enough for him to know that something could be happening. He actually looks like he cancels one of those bunkers. He's going to return back with his Marines.
Yeah, he's going to see the bunker.
But overall from Zest, it's not a huge commitment. It's just 3 gateways, it's a bit of Blink, and it looks like he's taking a 3rd Nexus.
Yeah, straight into a 3rd base, so he's not afraid here. I mean, you better be careful not to get caught by these Marines. He obviously, he isn't sure where they were, but
they're waiting.
They're not at the natural.
They got Stim as well, remember.
They could do some serious damage here.
And +1. Oh, the Marauders are chasing them back. If they go back here, and the Stim is activated. Oh, that's so good.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful play. Beautiful play from Jjakji.
Very, very smart.
Very nice.
This could definitely lead into a cancelled 3rd base too, because we only see 3 Stalkers and 3 sentries on the map.
This is really bad news right now for Zest. And look at that, a Marine goes down and scout the 3rd base. So he knows that right now that's 400 minerals that isn't thrown into defense, it isn't thrown into tech or units at this point. And he's going to get a cancel on this for sure. And this is a big move coming out from Jjakji. And as much as we wanted Zest to change things around in this next map, it's not working out too well for him. A big Stim there. And he blinked back, and the Mothership Core goes down after a Time Warp, and that's bad.
Oh, but great force fields. Going to get the Marauders at the very least, and this is what they need to do. And that Nexus is going to stay up.
And good micro there from Zest, pulling back some of these units. And being able to use Blink as well. Nice, look at that, pulling that Stalker back and being able to get the rest of these units. And he does clean it up. And he doesn't get the cancel or the kill on the 3rd either, so the Nexus actually survives here.
Yeah, this has put Zest in a very important advantageous position. I mean, finally getting the economic lead, what he didn't have last game, and Jjakji only just started his command center, so he's miles behind now. This is lining up to be a great game for Zest.
Yeah, you see how things change so fast there.
Yeah, you got to be careful against being aggressive against Blink Stalkers like this. I mean, sure, he caught a bunch, but still, like, he can warp in more, 3 at a time, and he has the Mothership Core. So he's got to be very careful, especially with no medivacs. Stimming is just going to make your army so much weaker.
And now with Colossus coming out, he's going to really fortify himself across these 3 bases. And I think the next kind of stage for Jjakji's aggression is going to be with medivacs. I mean, It's going to be very hard, especially with Blink in there as well.
Absolutely. It's going to be a much different game than last game. Jjakji doesn't have the control at all. He doesn't have the tempo. He is behind now, and it looks like he's going to go for this double drop.
I guess one thing you can say that Zest being able to defend this, he had to sacrifice his upgrades for a lot. He's only just now getting in the Forge, which I suppose does lend its favor to Jjakji a little bit here. That's
true. That's very true. Jjakji very much ahead on upgrades right now. But Protoss can catch up pretty quickly. Maybe not with one Forge, but, you know, Chrono will help a lot. I'm sure we'll see armor from this Forge as well.
Double Medivac unspotted till the last minute here. And the units in between the natural and third, so quite out of position. He scans and sees they are, so he drops and stims and goes in to try to do a bit of damage. And targeting down the Cyber Core, that's a big pickoff here. That's a massive, massive pickoff.
Wow, very effective.
So only Zealots really can be added into this. And I guess Zealots are decent, obviously, but not the units he really wants at this point, with a lot of gateways finishing up.
Yeah, not at all. Looks like he was really gearing up to do something. I mean, with this many gateways, he could very well go into a timing. And I mean, with the Colossi, Mass Blink Stalker, with some Zealots and some Sentries, you know, you got a great push on your hands, especially in this position.
What's his probe count at? Is it that high? Oh, it's 66. It's high. It's very good, actually.
It's very, very strong.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll see where this is going to go. Templar Archives has been thrown in now, as we can see by Zest. Maybe a bit of adaptation from previous game, as we do see the second starport coming in. But quite far behind Zest in his upgrades. Just getting that +1 armor, where we see 2-2 starting for Jjakji. So definitely has a lead in that regard for sure, if he can make sure to utilize that lead.
Yeah, he's really going to have to. I mean, I'm sure Zest is going to kind of wait at least for one armor before he makes any sort of move. Going into charge, so he's still got some time off that too. And I'm sure he doesn't want to engage before that is finished. I mean, it's such a powerful thing to have for Zealots. It's kind of essential at this time of the game because kiting is so efficient. There's so much damage there.
If Jjakji attacks now, he's going to hit right in between that Storm upgrades.
This could be his timing, but I mean, at the same time, we have Colossus out. 2 Colossi with this many gateway units and Blink Stalkers. He's going to have amazing position. He's going to have to catch these Colossi out.
Yeah.
No Vikings on the map.
No, not many. There's 4 being built. There's 2 currently around somewhere, not with the army, and there's 4 being built. And they're on the left-hand side there, actually, so they're not with the army at all. We have a 3 Medivac drop here planned by Jjakji. But that is allowing Zest to get that Storm upgrade. He's got the second Forge coming in now and is starting to get everything he needs to be completely safe and solid. But here we are about to have a very cool move coming in from Jjakji. Units on the left-hand side, units on the right with these 3 Medivacs, which have been spotted, by the way.
Yeah, he's in complete control. He is so ready for this. Blink Stalkers and Charge Lots, as well as this waiting with his Colossi and Sentry for the army coming to the third. Yeah, Zest is very much ready for this.
Yeah, I think if Jjakji tries to play like this, he's going to get caught out. I think his best chance is going to be with a direct fight once his 2-2 upgrades complete. Like, he's got a Viking count now. He's got Ghost being added in. His opponent's upgrades aren't that good, so if he can clear out the Colossus and High Templar, he's going to steamroll the Gateway army with the army size that he has and the upgrades that he has. And Jjakji's just playing really well. He's got a very high supply count. He's, you know, his macro's been fantastic throughout this game and the previous one as well.
Yeah, he's an outstanding macro. He took the lead after being so behind on his third base, and I mean, he's gone straight back into it. But at the same time, we have Zest investing in such a powerful army, so good against pretty much Terran in general, based on the positioning. That's really what it's all going to come down to, is positioning. Is he going to get the snipes on the Colossi with the Vikings? Is he going to get the EMP on the Templar? It's either yes or no.
Well, something to help this out will be the cloak coming in for these ghosts. I'm not too sure if there's an observer active with the army or not, but that's going to be quite crucial to this next fight.
Yeah, very much
so far behind in these upgrades. He really needs to land these storms. They're going to be so important to hit. He does have 8 High Templar. It's a very high number. And here it comes. 200 supply. A very solid Jjakji army.
Yep, no SCVs with this one, though.
Looking for an observer. Plants a couple of Widow Mines as well. And the positional battle is now commencing as Jjakji tries to get himself in that. And there's one threatening storm. Lands well.
Does a bit of damage on Marauders, though, so takes a lot more. Oh, great snipes on 2 of the Templar. Still more to go, though.
Yeah, there's a couple there. And I don't know if there's any flanking High Templar from the left-hand side or not, but we'll find out. There are a couple down there, which has been spotted and scanned. And he's going to go for them with a handful of units. So really smart move to stop the flank. And storms continue to land. Cloak is done, by the way. And
trying to pin out that Widow Mine hit.
So cautious here. I love the cannon additions here for the potential cloak threat.
Oh, yeah. Very great. And here we go. Here's the positioning.
Yeah, and here's the EMPs on the Colossus, and they immediately melt at this point. Instantly gone in this fight, but is Jjakji going to be able to have enough here? He's got a couple of Widow Mines that have been activated, and the Zealots just getting cleaned up here by these high upgrades that the Marines and Marauders have. A couple units left over. Immortals, look how slow they are as they turn around, and with the concussive shells on their tails, 2 of them get picked off immediately. Equal-ish in supply, a lot of loose and useless Vikings here, but it looks like Zest may be able to hold on.
Yeah, I mean, Zest still has quite an impressive bank. Looking at that, like 1,500, 800, he can make a lot of units still. He can warp in a lot. So looks like Jjakji's going to retreat and secure this 4th base, which I really like a lot. You know, he won a good fight. He reset the Colossus count. He dealt with a lot of the Templar. Now he can sit behind a planetary on his 4th base, make the army he needs to once he's scouted. And
go again.
And go again.
3/3 upgrades would be within that time as well, so he'd be again a little bit further ahead. But as you pointed out, Zest would start to climb in with his upgrades. +3 armor now coming in, +2 attack on the way. So we'll see how this is going to shape up. But a good game here from both players. Relatively equal at this point, but double robotics facilities now, so 2 Colossus at a time. Going to play a big part in this game.
Yeah, and we haven't seen any more Vikings being made, so he's sitting on 8 right now. And it's going to really depend on how many Colossus we see come out, but 8 might not be enough. And considering there is Storm as well, and Blink Stalker, I mean, that's going to deal with Vikings very quickly.
And very solidly positioned is Zest across these 4 bases now. Cannons, units, observers surrounding, just beautifully set up, very defensively. And it's going to be hard for Jjakji to find that optimal position to take a good fight, unfortunately.
Yeah, the power of King Sejong Station. And oh, we see some great storms go down.
Yeah, targets a couple of those ghosts down as well. And Archon gets caught at the front, unfortunately, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem from Zest. I suppose the only thing really missing from Zest, because he's been pinned back and trapped, is form of harassment. I mean, there is none.
We definitely do not see any War Prisms on the map, which I'm very surprised about. You know, he could be doing some serious damage here, but he's doing pretty damn good damage with all these storms and snipes on the Vikings. Wow.
Great snipes, especially because he was focusing on his Colossus count. Bringing that Viking count down is going to help out a lot.
So important.
He's got that +2 attack. He's about to finish up with +3 armor, so he has caught up kind of close now to Jjakji's 3/3, but if you look at the supplies, it's Zest who's able to reach that 200 supply mark first.
Yeah, just constantly getting better trades in all these skirmishes, resetting this Viking count. He killed so many in that fight, it was really unnecessary. Getting some great storms off. I mean, securing that 4th base pretty early while Jjakji was getting his down, as well as trying to attack. And yeah, Zest in a perfect position now. He just kind of has to find a way to deal with this planetary.
And here is a first-person shot coming in from Jjakji as he prepares for the next incoming battle, which is soon to commence. He's got Zealots harassing on the left-hand side. The sensor tower now activated on this middle of the map here in the center. You can see the main army of Zest moving there, which is definitely in the corner of his eye. He's got a lot of tracking on his opponent's army with these sensor towers. He scans, he sees, and he's going in with his Cloak Ghost now. Vikings try to get towards the observers. A cannon about to complete. And a couple of good EMPs to start this fight off. And the fight is going to commence as he kills the observer. No, it doesn't. And is it? Is he going to go for this now? And a couple of EMPs. He steps forward. Great storm on the left-hand side. It gets a lot of the ghosts low. And the Viking count got a tap. Oh, great storm there coming from the right-hand side for Zest. And Jjakji just plummets in supply there and has to retreat.
Yep, Storm's cleaning up. I mean, he couldn't get all the EMPs he needed. He got the Colossi, only one remaining. And I mean, Zest's bank, look at that bank. He can resupply so quickly. He can fight again and again. He can engage at his base, repop, remax, and just clean up the army. And he's going to take this 5th base down, and there's nothing Jjakji can do about it.
Great snipe. Beautiful snipe on that 5th base here for Zest. And he's slowly but surely putting the game into his favor over the last 5-10 minutes or so, and he's got a very good army. The harassment continues on this left-hand side, which was something that he was missing before, but finally has room to do so. He's got a 5th base in the middle of the map. More harassment continues, and Zest really getting into his groove now. Yeah. This is where we see him dominate so often within the GSL or Pro League, and he's bringing that to the table now. The Intel Extreme Masters, a rough start in game number 1, but turning things around here, and he's dominating this one from here.
Yeah, really learned from his first game, and playing a perfect second game. Getting the Blink Stalker is kind of taking control, and now he's in complete control. He has a bank that is unrivaled by Jjakji, He has the army that is so hard to deal with, and he's had great position every single fight. Jjakji's been fighting on top of cannons. Like, there's no way his ghosts are going to get in there and do the damage they need, get the EMPs and snipes he needs to stop the storm, which is essentially cleaning up the army.
And Zest continues to suffocate his opponent. As you said, the money's really high. Jjakji's really low at this point, being forced into attacking himself. He's got to make a move soon, and he's going to try another one. He gets 2 of the observers immediately, and that's a bit of a problem considering there isn't an observer with this. There are a couple of cannons here and around. Snipes go around, Archon gets morphed, but if we look at Zest's army, this is a very powerful army that he has, and with the reinforcements capabilities, he shouldn't be messing this up at all, and there should be a fight for Zest to take. He's going to go for it here. Everything is low for Jjakji. He doesn't have the numbers here. The reinforcements straight into the battle, the great storms on these Vikings, and this is a nice fight again for Zest.
Another fantastic fight. I mean, Jjakji traded pretty well at some points there, but it still just wasn't enough to clean up the core of it. I mean, we still have so many Stalkers, Zealots, Immortal, and Archons. And this base is in jeopardy. I mean, there's simply no way he's going to hold it at this point. Yeah,
there's no way he's going to hold this. And at any point, Zest can just build towards his opponent's composition, really. No Ghosts, right? High Templar. No Vikings, right? Colossus. GG from Zest. And a very solid performance from him. Coming into game number 2, he looked a little bit rocky, especially at the start of that, losing the Stalkers in the middle, but he tightened up and turned that one around nicely.
Yep, I mean, played to the map's strength. I mean, it's a very, very good defensive map, King Sejong Station. Great for Protoss. We do see a lot of Protoss play on this map. It's definitely their choice, and he played it brilliantly. Played it to its strengths all the way. Very defensive,
right, and
took every good fight there was.
And as maybe confident or as of a good a feeling Jjakji would have had after game number 1.
Oh,
now you start to wonder, oh no, all right, Zest is actually playing well today. Oh dear.
It's like, oh, okay, so he's actually, he's still pretty good.
He's still good. And tied apiece now, so we'll be going to game number 3, and we will be going to one of the newer maps now. It's going to be Nimbus.
Nimbus. An interesting map here.
So Nimbus is the map, if I'm not mistaken, with the in-base base.
I believe that is the map,
yes. It is the one with the in-base base.
In-base base, a lot of airspace on this map.
Yes.
Great for dropping, which I'm sure is why Jjakji chose this map. Actually, the maps are predetermined, but looking at this map choice, it has to be Jjakji, right? I don't think Zest would want this. I mean, the free base at the back is very helpful for Protoss especially, but I mean, it also is very helpful for the Terran as well.
All right, so we'll be starting game number 3 any moment now. As if you're just tuning us, welcome to the Intel Extreme Masters Shenzhen tournament live from China. We are here at the Cartoon and Animation Festival with the Intel Extreme Masters bang in the middle of it. There's a lot of Chinese fans here that have come to watch these guys play, and they are experiencing some of the best StarCraft because we have some of the best players here. We have 6 players out of the top 16 within the WCS Global ranking. Both of these players are top 11. We have Zest at 8, Jjakji at 11. Some of the finest players that you can watch play. And we are here for game number 3 to decide a winner to move on to the winners game. As down here playing as the red Terran player for Team Mayan Sanity from WCS Europe, it's Jjakji. And he goes up against a GSL champion from this year in Season 1 from the region Korea. It is, of course, KT Rolster's Zest.
Never heard it pronounced Korea before. Korea.
Yeah.
But I like it a lot. I might try that next time.
I say some funny things when I'm casting and sometimes sleep deprived. I am a little bit jet lagged right now.
No, you're doing fine, buddy. I love it.
I had a inner fight between my body and brain earlier this morning.
I had the same fight, but it was my stomach and brain. Like, my stomach's like, why did you go to Chinese Pizza Hut last night, yo? And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Never again, I promise. Just let me sleep. And it's like, sorry, I got to spend hours digesting this at like 100 degrees in my stomach.
Oh, man. My body this morning was like, all right, you took your afternoon nap. Time to wake up. 2 hours later, I'm like, I'm not napping, dude. I'm trying to sleep.
It's brutal going from Europe to anywhere over this side of the world. I have first-hand experience coming from Australia to just about anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
There is jet lag involved just about every single time.
Oh.
Even to China, it's a 10-hour flight. Yeah. That's not fair. Dude, what's going on?
When I flew to Australia earlier this year, when I missed that DreamHack tournament, I was like, all right, 12 12 hours in, I look at the map, I'm like, oh my God, I'm still nowhere near. I'm like, how long do I have left? They're like, you have another 12. I'm like, no, this can't be true.
Oh, I went to Katowice the other year, and it was the same kind of deal. I had like a 5-hour stopover in Singapore too, so I'm like, really? It's going to be a 30-hour trip? And I'm like, by the time I got there, I'm like, I don't want to play StarCraft. I want to sleep and cry, like, but I had to anyway.
It's one of those things of being an Australian, man.
Yeah, it's one of the sacrifices we make for such a brilliant country.
A brilliant country, a beautiful country. All right, so Nimbus here. It is the map with the inside base. If you haven't played this already, this is a 4-player map. You can spawn in any of the locations. And as you can see, that Jjakji's showing us, you have access to an easy natural base. But one thing to point out, from my games when I've played Protoss here, it's very dangerous to play when a player is aggressive with bio units because the photon overcharge doesn't cover the ramp.
Exactly.
So he can actually just walk up into your base and he can come down south and he can even walk up towards your natural threaten up there. So it means you maybe have to double photon overcharge up there, which means your main base is exposed. So if you play greedy on this map, it can be very difficult to deal with, especially if we were to see something similar as you saw from Jjakji in game number 1.
Exactly. I was just about to say, I mean, this seems like Jjakji's style, where he's hyper-aggressive. He's going to manipulate those photon overcharges with bio very early, go into the late medivac, and then do some real damage. And I definitely think we could see that again this game.
All right, well, we'll see what we have planned, because currently we may be seeing a 3rd command center.
Ooh.
Look at that. Against the norm here. You don't really see this too often.
Definitely not what Zest is expecting from Jjakji, especially.
The complete opposite, as you were saying. We're expecting aggression to utilize what we mentioned before. So very interesting play coming out from Jjakji. And he played a couple of mind games earlier today in game number 1 where he hit his one barracks command center away from Zest, who was then guessing to what's going on. And again, Zest completely in the dark at this point. No information. Doesn't even know if it's going to be factory after the barracks. Doesn't know about the command center clearly. Big moves here from Jjakji.
The power of the map. I mean, you got that little ramp guarding your natural and main. Put some Marines there. You're never going to get a scout until you got observers out. Or air units, I guess, like Phoenix or Oracle. And so, we're going to go straight for the Robo.
That's a little bit of a shame there for Jjakji to lose his Reaper.
Yeah, definitely casting out his scouting.
I mean, even if the Stalkers go to the other side of the map, what are they going to see? A handful of Marines on the top of the ramp? That's no information whatsoever.
Nope.
This is not good at all. Zest is moving down this right-hand side with his units. I'm not sure what he's looking for. Okay, he doesn't even know where his opponent spawned yet. So he was actively looking for that.
Going for a very kind of greedy, like no scout with probe. I kind of like this. You know, it is a good map for greed, but it's got to be careful greed. I mean, you got to get the Stalkers out. You got to scout well with them, and you got to be ready for any sort of timing. And Sentry on this map also was a great choice because you just force-filled that little gap.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a long time for Terran to get through the debris.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great choice if he was playing against someone who's playing aggressive, you know. And, he's delayed his robotics bay coming into this. He's had to make, consecutive observers or time after time here because he still needs to find out what's going on. He's got 2 now coming in. And without information still. We're about to find out what he will see for the first time in this game. And I think, is that an observer just outside his main base?
Yeah, that's an observer coming down.
So by the late factory here, he may be able to pick up the tell of a world-class player like Zest. He should be able to know that this is a late or a very early 3rd command center late factory.
Yep, he's going to get that scout on the SCC as well. So he's like, wow, so greedy. And we'll have to wait and see if he's going to do a timing from this or he's just going to simply take his own 3rd base.
Well, he's got a Twilight Council coming in. Obviously could go towards Blink, but no, he moves out and he's going to take a 3rd. But look at that, an SCV from Jjakji.
Wow.
It's going to spot the... Look at that, just
very nice, waiting for it.
Beautiful, really good scout there.
Yep. So both players kind of knowing exactly where each other are, know that they're going to be greedy. There's no immediate threat, so they can kind of sit back and relax, build up these armies that they need. Zest obviously want to get to that same kind of stage late game where he has this army that he can control so well, stay in control, and kind of just win these win these fights. Not team fights. Win these fights very efficiently. I mean, he plays a very good defensive game, sitting on cannons, sitting on detection when he needs it. And I like it a lot.
That's definitely going to be where Zest is going to be the more likely to win. But for the time being, we see a movement out. And remember that Zest has just thrown down a 3rd, has just thrown down Double Forge, and is now only adding on extra gateways. The army supply is in favor of Jjakji, who's about to finish with Stim. And what really do we have out? What do we have out from Zest?
I think Zest needs to stop killing the debris. He needs to be very careful right now.
He sees the army. He sees it with an observer.
Oh, he shuts it down. But I mean, we did see Jjakji snipe a Colossus in the first game. That caused a lot of problems, and he doesn't want to lose this Nexus.
Yeah.
Now that it's finished, though, he will have Photon Overcharge, so he can play a little bit more defensively, a little bit safer. Not have to worry as much.
It looks like the game's stuttering a little bit here. I wonder if the players are experiencing it or not. I'm sure they'll start to pause soon if it continues on.
I hope so. Touch of lag there.
Yeah. +1 attack is near completion here. Armory, extra barracks on the way here for Jjakji. I'm not sure if they are experiencing it. I would have expected them to pause by now.
Yeah, they might just be really, really patient to the level
really patient.
or that to the level that's insane. But hopefully not. Hopefully they will pause if there's a problem. Because we want to see top-level games. We don't want to see them try and struggle through lag at all.
Looks like it is smoothed out, so another observer coming down. But
another one.
Look at this army supply from Jjakji. It's so big at this point. 48 supply. If he gets on top of these Colossus, the game could just end. So it's going to be very important to save these guys. And here it comes. Well, I almost called you Wolf then.
Oh.
I know. I don't know why I did that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Very, very handsome man.
All right, so how is this going to shape up? This is 4 medivacs, a lot of units. Colossus could be exposed here.
Ooh, goes for the snipe, it doesn't get it. I mean, Colossus are waiting.
No combat shield.
Doesn't even waste the Photon Overcharge, just complete control. Great positioning of the army, very safe.
Very good defense. Have we seen the double forge even used? Okay, we have. Okay, 1-1's on the way, 2-2's coming in. That's nice. That is nice for him. Yeah,
he's in actually great shape right now. He's playing the same game he played last time. He's like, you know what? I can play this late game and I can do it better than you, Jjakji. So I'm going to sit here. I'm going to weather the storm of this mid-game Terran that can snipe Nexuses, can do a lot of damage with drops, and I'm going to get there. And he's getting there pretty safely.
That's right. I mean, I think if you look at the units lost tab, what really is Zest lost in this game? Like hardly anything. A probe and 3 observers. He's lost no units yet.
Just about nothing. And he's going into that style where we don't see any sort of Templar on the map. We just see straight up upgrades, Zealots, and Colossi. And I like the style a lot. And he's in the right position to do it this time, as he hasn't taken economic damage, he hasn't lost a Nexus or anything like that. So he's gearing up for a great late game, a great push.
Let's hope Jjakji's going to be capable to play against that kind of player. Is that a War Prism down bottom? What is that? What is that flying unit? Okay, good. Phoenix. I was like,
Phoenix.
No way, the War Prism there would have been so sick.
That would have been actually amazing at this point.
Yeah.
Just warping Zealots into that third base. He's completely out of position. And man, look at that supply depot wall. Very nice.
No run-bys this game.
No way.
The starport, second starport, much later in this game, and without a reactor, so we're much less likely to see the similar push that we saw from Jjakji, lower Viking count.
Yeah.
And Zest is going to be fine. I think he's in, like you said, he's in really good position right now. He just played his game. He's been defensive. He hasn't taken any losses. He's got the great probe count. He's got a good army supply. He's got good upgrades. The only thing he doesn't have is the Templar Archives, but if the Viking count isn't incredibly high...
It's not a good Viking count. I mean, looking at it, he's making 3 at a time, and he doesn't have that many out at the moment. Not enough to deal with this many Colossi. 4 Colossi on the map. Constantly warping in more. 2-2 Zealots right now. So if Jjakji actually tries to take this fight, I'm very worried for him.
Ghosts are coming into the mix now, which will help out a little bit, of course. And the Viking count is slowly rising, so eventually there may be a number where Jjakji does have enough to take a good fight here against Zest, but Zest, man, going up towards 3-3 already.
3-3, another Colossus on the way too, and constant Zealot warpins. Oh, it's happening.
I'm not sure this one will work as well as we saw earlier. Depends on the engagement, the ghost hits.
Yeah,
a big push.
It really depends, like where these Colossus are landing. I mean, if they're only wasting their attacks on SCVs, it's just not going to do the trick. As we saw in the first game, he was behind the Nexus, and it just didn't do anything.
Zest has got to be careful here. He's out in the open and stim forward there from Jjakji. He doesn't even know about the SCVs yet. That's something that the brilliant put. He doesn't know about them, but it doesn't matter. Zest is at 200 supply anyway. He's about to pop another Colossus here, and now he sees the ghost. He sees the SCVs. He knows exactly what he's got. Time to get position, Sunshine, as this attack is real. And Jjakji's coming for it. He goes all the way up to his natural time warp. Oh, great position for the time warp. It's going to be really hard for Jjakji to engage now. Buying a couple of extra seconds here for Zest, picking off a couple of extra units.
Wow, really nice positioning here. And it's like Jjakji's kind of running out of time. He kind of understands that he has to do something. He pulled SCVs. He's got to make it work now.
All right, here we go. The Colossus get a lot of good rays on. The Zealots just charging into this. And look at it. The Bio is melting at this point. The Colossus still stands tall. There's still 3 Colossus. The Bio comes to try and help them out, but it's not going to be enough here. Zest is going to hold on versus his timing by the looks of it. 2 Colossus remain. The Vikings get targeted down. And Zest holds on against this push. Jjakji not successful this time.
Wow.
And it looks like Zest, who lost the first game, is going to be able to turn this around. So many SCVs are dead. So much money still available for Zest. His economy's still online. His 3-through upgrades kicking in.
He hasn't lost a single probe in that whole engagement. I mean, he held on perfectly. He got the position he needed. He got the engagement. He killed all the Vikings with the Blink Stalkers, and the Colossus cleaned up. Yeah,
now he has the Templar Archives coming in. He's got everything in his favor now. 130 supply to 90, and he's moving across the map with a small army, but he doesn't care. He knows his opponent is down, is hurting, and is bleeding.
Has lost every SCV.
Has lost every SCV. He's like in so much trouble at this point. Zest doesn't need to be over-aggressive. He's got this in the bag. He can look to end it now. His 3 third grades are about to complete. He's building pylons in the center of the map. It looks like he's just going to go for it here. And this has been a magical comeback here from Zest from game 1 to 2 to 3. And Jjakji, who looked like he started off the series excellently, and he did start it off excellently, is going to crumble to Zest. 2 games to 1. And Zest moves on to the winner's game here. Unfortunately for Jjakji, goes down to the losers.
Yeah, very, very strong game from Jjakji game 1, but, you know, Zest learned from that. He knew what he had to do. He had to play defensive. He had to play a very smart game and very tight game. He couldn't let that sort of thing happen again, and he didn't. He just played the maps perfectly. He played a very defensive game, and I mean, the bigger the map, like, the longer the time Protoss has to make that death ball, to make that army that's going to deal with any sort of SCV pull all in, like we just saw. And yeah, he played it perfectly.
Do you think there was? Do you think Jjakji missed potential opportunities in that game? You know, where we saw Zest potentially a little bit weak in the middle. Did he need to end it like that?
I definitely think we could have seen some more aggression from Medivacs. Like, I think going for the third base like that, trying to snipe the Nexus was a big mistake. He could have split his forces up more. He could have forced out whatever happened at the third base while dropping the natural.
Yeah,
the natural is so easy to drop. Yeah. Might as well make something happen there. That's why that map was there. That's why Terran want to play this map.
Yeah, well, there is Jjakji walking off the stage and is going to go meet up with Susie. And of course, they'll be having words together in a couple of moments on Susie's couch.
Susie's couch?
Susie's couch in our corner. But that's an unfortunate start there for Jjakji. A really good start, but it ended a little bit sour. And I'm sure he's a little bit disappointed that the way that it went. He was in prime position to potentially push Zest down. And look at moving out, because if we look at this group, it is a favorite player in Zest, a favorited player, and then it's a battle between Jjakji and San, and that really would have given Jjakji a massive edge in that battle to move out.
Yeah, and I mean, we have Illusion in there with potential to do damage. We'll have to wait and see exactly how it's going to happen if it does. But yeah, San and Jjakji kind of looking to be the favorites for second place.
Yeah, definitely. And in a couple of moments, as mentioned, we will be having that interview with Zest and Susie as they talk about lots of things. I'm sure Susie's got a lot of questions to ask. Have you bought anything at this expedition yet?
Not yet. I'm looking around. There's not a nice cosplay stuff. I might get something frilly. I don't know yet. I love anime, so I'm sure there's something out there for me.
I know there's definitely a lot of things out there for Kolaris when he arrives.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
He's going to have those anime eyes that just light up as he walks around this venue.
That sparkle in their eyes. He's going to grow some little cat ears.
That's right. There's a lot of cosplay girls around too, which I'm sure he's going to be enjoying ever so much.
Well, I think we're all enjoying it, Mr. Apollo.
The pro gamers are enjoying it. The casters are as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And yeah, it's a lot of fun. This is it's going to be a good couple of days here now that the issues have started to resolve themselves. As we thank everyone for bearing with us at the start of this tournament. And before we do get into that winner's interview, eventually when Zest comes over, we're going to be jumping into the next series very shortly. And it is only me and you today casting, as no one else has arrived yet through multiple different reasons.
You know what? That's fine, because I'm having a great time casting with you, Apollo.
Yeah, man.
It's been a lot of fun so far.
I've never casted with you before until today.
Well, I don't cast much, so I mean, I'm kind of new to the whole thing.
You're the new kid on the block.
I'm the new kid on the block. Watch out, guys.
Moonglade's coming.
Moonglade's coming. Team Salmon.
Team Salmon.
On our way.
We'll be going into the next game, which of course will be the losers match, which would be depending on who lost in that game, Illusion or San versus Jjakji, and then of course we'll be playing out the rest of the group. And I wonder if Susie is ready. She's slightly off to our left-hand side here. And I'm interested to see what Zest's got to say about himself.
He's a very interesting person. You know, he's such a good player, and he looks after himself. He looks great. I just want to know more about this guy.
I want to know about this guy. Susie, are you ready? Please take it away.
Okay, guys, I am here with Zest. I know we really don't get a chance to talk with Zest at all because he's mainly at the GSL. He's in Korea on the KT Rolster team. And we haven't really seen him out in the international scene. Now, I know he's been at IEM New York, and here he is today, or in this event, at Shenzhen. So, first off, I'm going to ask him a couple questions about the gameplay today. Today, in Game 1, I mean, you lost Game 1. It seemed like you were really shaky. What were you thinking when you lost that one? 첫 번째 경기 때, 다 들리죠?
네.
Okay. 첫 번째 경기 때 졌는데 당황한 것 같은 느낌이 들었거든요. 그거에 대해서 좀 얘기해 주세요.
생각보다 좀 솔직히 좀 가볍게 이길 줄 알았는데 생각보다 좀 움직임이나 그 옵저버 끊는 플레이가 너무 좋으셔가지고 생각보다 잘하셔가지고 좀 첫 경기 끝나고 좀 당황했던 것 같아요.
Okay, he said actually he thought first game was going to be an easy win, but when his opponent came in, started picking off his observers and stuff, he was just like, oh crap, this is going to be harder than I thought. When he lost that game, he sat there kind of bewildered in a way, kind of surprised that he lost, and obviously we know what happened in Game 2 and Game 3. Now, Game 2, then, what did you do to change that? I guess when you're feeling like shoot, I'm really surprised. What did you do to change it, and how did you gain that confidence back? 이 경기 때는 어떻게 해서 그러면 다시 자신감이 생기고 어떻게 해서 이기게 된 것 같아요?
솔직히 이 경기 때도 초반에 막 그 추적자 흘리면서 많이 솔직히 진 줄 알았어요. 지치고.
He thought he was gonna lose Game 2. Actually, he was just like, crap. In the first half of the game, he's like, oh my gosh, this is it. But
지치고 나갈 뻔했는데 상대방분이 솔직히 그 1세트와 3세트처럼 그 치즈 러시 1군 동반 러시가 왔으면 제가 좀 맞기 힘들었을 텐데 그렇게 무난하게 해주셔서 그렇게 역전할 수 있었던 것 같아요.
Okay, he actually thought he was going to lose. He at one point was thinking about just calling GG out, but then he realized, if he had cheese rushed it like he did in Game 1 or 3, he might have had a harder time. But then after that initial hump, he realized he could just go for the long game and was able to win. Now, you know what? We don't really know him as a person. And so I'm just going to ask him a couple of more personal questions. Me, Apollo, and Moonglade have come together, and we decided that we're going to ask him a couple of questions, especially about him being a Kespa player. Okay, now, you play for KT Rolster, and you're a Kespa player now. What are some differences between playing against Kespa players and playing against Western Korean players? 해외에 있는 선수들이랑 한국에 있는 선수들이랑 같이 게임할 때 차이점이 어떻게 되죠?
일단 해외 선수들은 자기 이렇게 자발적으로 이렇게 하는 시스템이다 보니까 저희 캐스파 협회 소속 그 게이머들은 이렇게 시간도 완전 정해놓고 완전 체계적으로 이렇게 게임량도 다른 해외 선수들보다 많기 때문에 당연히 저희 캐스파 선수들이 더 우월하다고 생각하고 있어요.
Okay, initially he says the foreign players they have a lot more freedom to make their own practice schedules and things like that. Obviously, if you're in a team house in Korea, it's all set for you. In fact, I'm going to ask him, how many hours per day do you practice? 매일 몇 시간씩 연습을 해요?
일단 의무적으로 해야 되는 게임 시간이 10시간 정도 되고.
Okay, the given amount of time is about 10 hours that they have to do.
경기 전날에는 그것보다 더 많이 해서 12시간, 13시간까지도 하고 그러고 끝나는 게 아니라 이제 자발적으로 추가적으로 이제 더 하는 편이에요, 저는.
Okay, and then he says right before a big match, they'll be required to play between 12 and 13 hours. And then afterwards, when they have free time, he's the type who'll go ahead and put in some more hours. So that already goes to show you how much more they practice. And so he feels that because of those reasons that Korean players, especially KESPA players, perform better in these kinds of tournaments. But what you guys don't know is that in Korea, most players prepare for one opponent, right? Wherefore, in these international tournaments, you just kind of come in and you play a best of 3, a best of 5 against whoever just happens to come your way. I'm wondering if that's why KESPA players haven't been doing very well in these kind of individual tournaments. 그러니까 KESPA 선수들은 이제 자기 상대방이 누군지 알면서 연습을 많이 하고 준비를 할 시간이 많지만 해외 대회 나오면은 계속 BO5나 BO3 정도 모르면서 하잖아요. 그런 거에 대해서 좀 얘기해 줄 수 있어요?
제일 잘 말씀해 주셨는데 그 부분이 제일 힘든 것 같고 저희는 이제 개인 리그든 프로 리그든 이렇게 상대가 정해지고 그 상대에 맞춰서 이렇게 체계적으로 연습을 하는데 해외 대회는 이렇게 다음 상대가 누군지도 모르고 이렇게 바로바로 정해지기 때문에 그 부분만 적응하면 이제 해외에서도 압도적인 모습을 보여줄 수 있지 않을까 생각합니다.
He said I hit the nail on the head. He goes, that's exactly why he feels that KESPA players just don't do as well. But if a player can get over that hump or just figure out how to deal with figuring, that variable, then he feels that they should be able to do well. Now, for WCS, you are now currently rank 8. Do you know this? 알고 있지? Okay. If you do really well in this tournament, then you're going to probably go to BlizzCon. Right? Do you know how much the BlizzCon final prize money is? 마지막 상금이 얼마인지 알아?
1억.
가고 싶지? 얼만큼 가고 싶어?
무조건 가야 된다고 생각하고 있어요.
All right. I asked him, how badly do you want to go? He's like, I don't care what it takes. I'm going to get there. Because he knows exactly how much the prize pool is. And, I mean, who wouldn't want $100,000? Really? Now, on the KT roster, I don't know if you guys know this, but this guy, probably the best Protoss in the world. Yeah? 이 세상에서 제일 잘하는 프로토스 맞아? Yes. Okay, he agrees with me. Now, which is, if anything, I think he's the best player on his team, and I may get flack for this, but I'm going to blame it on Apollo and Moonglade again and say that they made me say it. But I actually agree with it too. He's kind of taken that role. He's overtaken Flash. And for those of you guys have followed Brood War back in the day, that is a huge thing. I'm wondering how he feels about this. 지금 이제 이영호 선수보다도 더 잘하는 선수라고 사람들이 이런 말이 나오는데 그거에 대해서 어떻게 생각하세요?
영호가 대외적으로 이렇게 연습실에서 하는 것만큼 아직 못 보여줬다고 생각하기 때문에 연습실에서는 진짜 그 브루드워처럼 그런 포스를 보여주고 있기 때문에 조만간 영호도 잘할 거라 생각하고 저도 그에 못지않게 더 잘하려고 노력할게요.
I think he's laughing because I had told him earlier before this interview that I don't want generic answers, but he's giving me really generic answers and he knows it, and that's why we're both giggling. He feels that Flash hasn't been able to show in tournaments or on TV how good he is, because during practice he says Flash is still absolutely a monster, and he feels that, and it's probably because he's a Terran player, to be completely honest, but he feels that with more practice Flash should be where he needs to be, but having said that, with more practice Zest feels that he could still be better as well. So all right, well, you know what, I think it's time to go back to Sean and Mooncleat. I was going to say Wolf too. Oh my gosh. Something's rubbing off. There's something in the air, guys. But thank you so much, Zest. Thank you. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
All right. And back to you guys.